ring to, I don't know, build AP and in the darkness. Look, I'm not a good poet. Maybe I should stop this.
In the kill count, bind them.
That's maybe you are the poet between us.
Nani here Galad Mordor. Quote the very little Elvish I know.
See, the thing is, we don't actually just have 2 towers on the Rift, which really
got quite a lot of
buildings. We've actually got more than that. So we've got like we can't even call. Maybe we should just nominate one to be Baradur. That was one of them. Right?
This is the problem of recursive fantasy, where like similar with Star Wars. You know what? We've destroyed a Death Star, let's get a bigger one. We've destroyed 2 towers, let's get some more. What was some new ideas?
Lord of the Rings and the 2 towers. Lord of the Rings and the 3 Oh, there's a 4th one now.
Lord of the Rings and the Field of Towers.
Well, we do have a couple of rings. Of course, they're Doran's rings.
Yeah, they're a little less exciting.
And actually, come 12-14, because of the death of Potts and everything else, maybe that will change everything else. But we might see a death of a Soph. Oh my gosh, you've seen them. They didn't even see the bush. They don't have vision inside the bush. They don't know this happened.
I have no idea.
Oh, that's great. That's actually wonderful. It's actually timed out as well. They have no clue.
Flags in the dark. They are coming. Somewhere out there, there's a dwarf that's written a missive about this day.
Yeah, you might have realized once we get onto the track of a certain pop culture franchise, the references do keep coming. So if you are not read up on Lord of the Rings, I apologize for what is about to happen to you, not to anyone else, because you're going to love it. As we get on to saying hello to our lovely golem friends in the jungle.
All right, well, we are in Chapter 1 concerning the jungle pathing. So they're going to start with blue buffs each and try and path towards opposite sides of the map.
You know what? No, we're not. Sorry. I've chosen to disengage from this line of thought. So we have Aphelios Renata, who don't really want to fight at level 1. Renata is there to make sure Aphelios has a level 1 presence, because he's half a champion at that point. Level 2 gets very, very scary, of course, with his ultimate, his different abilities unlocking for both of his guns. He only has the phase right now to change between his 2 weapons, whereas Aphelios and Mimi, they are just looking for a weakness in either of these 2. They have wave control, and this is what makes both of those champions on MNM's bot side so dangerous. MNM, of course, do have an early game comp, and they do need to find some advantages in that point of the game. If the game does kind of slow down, you're playing into an Aphelios, you're playing into the Renata ult and Jace having range advantage, you can find yourself in a bit of a tricky situation around those objectives later on.
Bit of a side note, what chroma is that for Ari?
Oh, that is... So, funny enough there, I have myself a skin tier list for Ari.
Oh, do you? I do know that, actually.
60 plus cosmetics in there, and that is the Foxfire chroma, and that's actually the Ariversary chroma. So that's actually the colors of the South Korean flag. But it's the Foxfire skin. So actually every skin which Ari has a chroma in the red, white, and blue colors.
That's really cool. There you go.
Foxfire, of course, being in the S+ best.
Of course, it is your favorite.
Top things back off with the skin tier list.
Trades back and forth there with the electrocuting both mid laners. I know, obviously in MSI, we saw this one kind of end up being relatively Lissandra favored, though I know you've said you can play this one out pretty well as Ari, though it requires a certain amount of aggressive trade.
Well, so the thing for me is, so on an individual level, you take electrocute on both these sides. Ari it can actually go both ways. You get an extra Q in from the side of Lissandra. Things get a bit awkward if you miss the Q. Another couple of autos get traded from the Ari. These trades snowball very, very quickly because both of these champions are actually very squishy. You can see both sides have popped both pots already. They're trading very, very hard. Chimera actually doing a fairly good job of hitting those edge of those Qs. Aero has the teleport. Chimera doesn't. Of course, they opted in for that cleanse. I actually think this game probably... this is one of those games I would have actually advocated for if you really wanted to. Spellbook plus cooldown boots, because it allows you to get as many cleanses as possible. That's one way to play it very safely, right? You're always going to have value in that game. And it means that Lissandra's main value of, oh, I shut down the Ahri, doesn't really happen. Can you shut down bot lane? Now, Lulis is here, of course. Remember, debut game for him on this NYYRIKKI roster in the NLC. Can they shut down this point of power in this 2v2, or is he here just to scout out a potential 3v3?
We said it in the last game. Venza said in an interview, if you draft Kalista, you draft yourself into playing around bot lane Lulas. And his first game for NYYRIKKI, spends a lot of time here, has sapped a lot of XP, all things said and done.
And we had such a large conversation about this in that last game, where it does feel like Kalista is one of those champions where you know you're putting resources bot lane. Both teams are fully aware of this. They're not idiots. And even with that, you do it anyway, right? Because even though it's so obvious, because most of the time in League of Legends, when there is a champion or someone saying, look, we need to play around this lane, you can counter it. You can just put more resources there. But Kalista is so strong, the more resources you put into her, especially in early game, it's very difficult to do that. So Lula's turning up. just kind of paying respect to the fact that Soft could have come in and made an absolute mess of things. And with that, even though Soft didn't turn up, it just stops the worst-case scenario of Kalista snowballing happening. And actually, NYYRIKKI now have a CS lead onto their AD carry. They get themselves a reset, so it's not like a temporary lead as well. The wave's at tower, and that means Kalista's going to miss some of those items. And of course, this is Azator's Aphelios too. I actually accidentally call the champion Azator sometimes because he's so, for me, synonymous with the Aphelios. His weapon management, top-notch. His ability to impact fights, top-notch. This guy made such a name for himself in Spring on this pick.
Very much did, and of course, surviving just fine in this early game as Caleb hits the Meganar, and Banderas actually down, out of mana, does go in, has got Lulas coming up, but I don't know how much he really wants it. Caleb flashes early, Pillar still comes down, but with the minions in the way, no easy way for Lulas to get on top of the Gnar. And it will just be that summoner taken out of Caleb's inventory. Soft, though, will use that opportunity to secure an early Drake for MNM.
You take those, I think, as NYYRIKKI are on top side, because you see that Caleb was kind of winning out in the early laning phase. Caleb's actually overstaying. Now, Banderas doesn't have enough mana to do much here, and is currently being pushed around a little bit by Caleb. Of course, Banderas teleported back early with a Dirk. Didn't even go for the tier first back, but rather have that very quick, cheap, and cheerful, but very efficient buy of that Dirk. Caleb, however, getting ahead in CS, getting ahead in trades, and still has the teleport to get back to lane when he wants to. He manages to get his back in without even using that summoner.
And Caleb's a player we've actually had a lot of praise for. It's been a lot of damage. Of course, he's died a fair amount for his team as well, but he's been very impactful. His Gangplank in particular. We've got a few phenomenal Gangplank players currently in the league, but Caleb has put his name right up there. And yes, there haven't been as many wins for MNM as we would have liked, but there have been half of so many games that have been phenomenal that just haven't come to fruition for this team.
So let's just put this in context again. We kind of had some taglines for a couple of the games. It helps us kind of decide what we're talking about in the game in terms of like, oh, the battle of the ceiling versus the battle of finding their feet, blah, 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 battle of the other things too. But this one really is two teams who looked better than their game score. NYYRIKKI have had great games for about half a game. MNM have had that arguably even more so. As you're saying, you get 15 minutes of great gameplay from MNM, then about 15 minutes of them looking lost and not really looking like they have a direction and trying to figure out what they're going to do. In this game, we'll see when those 15 minutes crop up, because NYYRIKKI, of course, also in their own way, having their brilliant moments, taking down JDXL, going 1-1 versus Bifrost, importantly, too, in that battle for playoffs. And of course, see which one comes out on top today.
Yeah, and of course, Bifrost kind of raised the bar for getting into playoffs by winning earlier on against XL, and what a win that was for the squad. But it does now mean NYYRIKKI still can make playoffs if they can get 3 wins or more. And Bifrost don't get more than one more win to tie up that score there. But that will require a bit of a road, bit of a mountain to climb, but it starts here.
Yeah, they have to catch up 3 games. Aero has that level 6 mark hit, walking into Soft, though. He's gone for the Conqueror this game. We often see a lot of arguments about
Lulas.
Keystone was that, and actually might need to have that fighting Keystone available. Lulas is up here for the Herald. But NYYRIKKI bought more people.
Hops away, but there's still gonna be a flash handshake, and now Caleb about to get deleted. First blood to Banderas.
And you look at NYYRIKKI having more people top side, but they even still have Astor on bot side. So I actually want, well, we have to see what happens in this top side river, because there potentially is something happening. They're on vision. I really want to see what's happening in this bot side. Astor's putting in that wave. And what that means is that Astor gets to leave that lane now, get to roam elsewhere, and Kalista won't be here for the fight. Aero not going to be all in a safe position. Really interested now what NYYRIKKI are going to do, because they have a momentary numbers advantage, and Aero does have flash and ult.
Azator with a deadly pairing of weapons there. Severum, Crescendum, a known blender combo with the onslaught and the number of chakrams you can stand for Aero now in a dangerous position. This is a 2v3. Aero does get the ult off just in time. Azator now with the chakram spinning. You bring it up, get the kill, and Aero's back out with the bailout. They get the kill and get out.
Oh, I thought that was so clever from MNM. They were trying to pull apart NYYRIKKI between different lanes. You could see that Azator was trying to get farm. As saying that, Mishku's had that too. Losing the skirmish, and Mishku at least not going to get punished for that one. Like I was saying, I thought that was so clever from MNM, judging where NYYRIKKI were going to be between taking that Herald and rotating around the map. They thought they had themselves a momentary numbers advantage, but that Renata comes in so clutch.
That is an ultimate with so little HP to work with. Abagnale is in there just in time for the bailout. They get the heal, and Soft only just escaped as well, because of course, look at Azator with the whirlwind of blades surrounding him.
Whirling Dervish. I mean, so for those of you that don't know, there was a buff a while ago to Crescendum's Moonlight Vigil, the ultimate, which meant that when you do hit targets, you get more chakrams at the start of it. So particularly in early game, if you hit that Crescendum ultimate, you become effectively like Ashe with the Q running. It's absolutely insane in terms of the extra amount of shots flying through, except they're not arrows, they're like full chakram extra damage coming through. Loads of DPS, puts it down immediately, and once again showing why this champion, to us on the NLC Div 1, has been related so much to NYYRIKKI's bot laner.
And of course, the last time we saw Soft on the Jarvan, it was when MNM were inches away from securing victory, and unfortunately he couldn't quite find the cataclysms in that game. Actually, unfortunately, their opposition escapes me momentarily. I had it in my head, and I've brain farted briefly, so I have to go quickly look that one up. But I remember it being incredibly close. It came right down to the wire, but couldn't quite close it home.
Yep. And that was, again, I feel so bad for MNM, because I actually feel like that was, again, quite intelligent, trying to pick off NYYRIKKI when they were rotating around. They have so much target access between a Moo Qs and flashes, and then, of course, their mid-jungle duo, which can reach targets from pretty much anywhere within the screen that they're on, and they just didn't quite manage to capitalize on it. They couldn't quite manage to get a hold of their target, and suddenly what could have been a great snowball opportunity kind of falls away from them.
It was versus Riddle, is what it was. It was Kalem's gangplank in that one, looking pretty sublime into an enemy Kale. It was looking really good. Camera was back on the Swain, which we've had so much praise for. Couldn't quite close it out, so I need to see a little bit of redemption from Soft here, who's wasn't finding the best engages in that last time out with the Jarvan. This time Neely makes it work, but can't quite secure the kill onto Aeros Lissandra, and unfortunately they lose a kill in that attempted trade.
They just got outplayed a little bit. Hands on the keyboard in favor of NYYRIKKI in that one. Of course, MNM have themselves a mythical creature already on their roster. They have a Chimera in the mid lane.
Yes.
What they really are looking for
It's got a fox head, a raven's head, and something else. What are the champions they play?
No, well, I mean, it's actually for Chimera, it's just loads of bird champions. That's actually the Chimera.
Does Ari count?
Oh, you know what? I don't want to think about my main champion in that way. I will now disengage from that thought. But what they're really looking for is something called a hecatoncheir. Now, if anyone out there is a fan of Greek mythology, this was an elder creature, like before the time of the Titans and stuff, known as a 100-handed one. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for
more hand stiff.
They're looking for more hand stiff. Find yourself a hecatoncheir. Who is the hecatoncheir in your life? That's the question I want to ask you today.
Hang on, did you just ask a statement of people who is the hecatoncheir in their life? Look, all right,
hang on,
people at home, people of Twitch chat, hear ye. Look for the people with the best hands. They may well be a mythological Greek creature hiding in
I knew there was something different about them.
It's like the Salem witch hunts, but for like modern day League of Legends. And, I don't know, feel a bit worried about that. Shredder is actually on vision here, sitting around, of course, does have the Fates call. It's a deadly combo here.
Well, NYYRIKKI 3v3, but Sentinel. It was actually a very intelligent Sentinel from Mishku. You know, we talked about Aztor and his Aphelios and how important that has been to him. Mishku has been a player who's kind of played a bit of everything, though, on the other side of it. Ooh, close from Chimera, though. Speaking of Chimera, talked about him a little bit. I think that might be some Magic Pen in the build. I think that's some Sork Shoes, and looking at that blasting one, I think we're going to get quite a bursty Ahri here. Have the Electrocute, got the cleanse in there already, and I think that's quite important, because if you are going for those similar kind of picks we saw around that Herald, and you want to single out a champion very quickly into it, I think having a Ludens and just saying, look, Amumi's going to put someone down, this Jarvan is going to sell someone out, you can see how important it is. Actually, with Shredder here, let's see if they can maybe find themselves a burst combo. Looking potentially for a fight, lots of people coming to the occasion.
3v3 with the outside chance of Kalem joining down there in the river to make it a 4v3, but the Herald gets its charge off. We've got 2 minutes until the Dragon, and actually with the wave shoved in, Kalem will just about turn up in time to collect that one as well, so...
It's always such a heart-stopping moment when you are flag dragging around a trundle to just go, ha, I've had my dash cancelled. That was fun. Doesn't happen there, but it was so close.
More extreme language.
Was to the same effect.
I've got to call it out as well. Of course, Camera not only building towards some pen, has got himself the One Ring in inventory as well.
Yes.
Sauron very pleased.
The One Ring of library power.
With library access.
With you, endless amounts of reading are at your fingertips.
Dark Lord of Silence in the library.
Not to like harp on too much that failed play around Harold, but that could have been such a good start to that snowball, because you already had that inventory at that point, but course, both of these teams, it feels like actually both these teams in a very snowball situation when you have a Lissandra who can deal with many squishy champions in MNM, and no, Jarvan is not very tanky. Most junglers aren't nowadays. Similar can be said of NYYRIKKI. Basically, no one is a tank in this game. First target into the fray is going to have an absolutely harsh time of it, so that snowball means even more.
Don't know whether there's going to be the flag available quite yet, so Soft in a slightly tricky position, but no real ability to continue to dive on top of him. NYYRIKKI up a fair amount of gold, of course, the early objectives in terms of the Dragons going MNM's way. If they consume, I don't know if there's a word there, ensure they get to the next Drake, they'll be at Soul Point.
Consume the dragon.
Consume the dragon. Yes, the Nunu's on the ridge, yes. Why does the enemy team not just simply consume the other? To quote Futurama, slightly paraphrased, but there we go, all the while. Several crescendo in the bot side.
Per se, I ate, in fact.
First tower secured by NYYRIKKI down there as
We've
a
been
tour.
going through the references today, haven't we?
Random pop culture references we have said. All the same though, it is NYYRIKKI who take this moment to take command of the map and continue to extend their gold lead in MNM. I do need to see them start making plays soon, because actually at the minute they're kind of bleeding out just slowly in these incremental ways.
It does feel like it will come down to the first mistake, and you're looking at that vision for where that is going to come about. You can see actually wards over the river on both sides. NYYRIKKI mainly have theirs on the top side jungle, not that helpful around this dragon, whereas MNM have a couple around the river, and that should help them choose their target first. Watch for those Amumu Qs, watch for that Jarvan engage. First target in, first target picked out is going to get deleted.
So Kalista will be onto the dragon, so Ren Secure will be a part of this, and MNM looking to secure Soul Point. NYYRIKKI don't want to contest, so the win condition is on the board, and it's a Luden's Ari by the by.
There we go. So, as we were kind of saying, yep, this is so great, right? Because I can sit here and say, this is the logical build to do, and people would still build Everfrost and like Morel and Omicron or something. Yes, Tempt, I'm looking at you. I think Tempt is such a good player. Just build, whatever. Lots of conversations had about that. Lots of great players. I still disagree with their builds. I'm sure many people have had that before, but now it's happening to my main champion. I actually care about it.
Yeah, I never cared until it happened to me.
No one cared until what I built until I put on the Fox. But with this, this game is about killing the first target. It is about deleting the first target into the fray. And that happens for both sides. Of course, you see that Luden's for Aero as well. Hasn't built up those boots yet. Don't know whether he'll be going to even more pen. But look at this in the side lane. I mean, I want to see how much Aero can do. This is going to be a very dead Ari very quickly if they pull the trigger.
There's a cleanse there, so Cameron needs to be a little afraid. Straight away now bursted, but there's a ring of frost afterwards. A charm afterwards means that Aero will get the ultimate as well, so Camera down some fairly big ticket cooldowns.
And that's really important now, because MNM were trying to slot into a 1-3-1 side laning style of play. Can't do that without ult and cleanse on Chimera. So that down, MNM will now have to reassess what they're doing with their lanes. Aero gets to control bot side. There is a moment, though, when NYYRIKKI can all in hit.
Thinking about it, don't pull the trigger, though, and MNM have not really made a lot of proactive plays outside of that one attempt to catch out Aero early on, as now Caleb down in the mini-nart in a spot of Bother Banderas trading very heavily. The teleport coming through to defend their Jace. Maybe just looking to reassess some of these lane setups. Fate's Call burned as well. MNM do walk out, but...
It's a lot of respect on both sides, actually. Early teleport, early Kalista ultimate. I think that's the right choice. Now Nishigu just about hops away from that potential danger there. But both these teams, again, not willing to be the first team to get picked off. That's kind of what's been talked about a lot in the last couple of minutes. Look for that vision control into that first amount of huge pile on damage. But, you know, we talk about gameplay a lot. Let's go back to what it means for both these teams. We are closing in on the last 2 weeks of play. There's relegation.
Oh, yes.
Stakes for this. There is playoff stakes for this and implications of both. So, NYYRIKKI, if they win this game, they're only 2 behind Bifrost. They're actually 1-on-1 with them as well. So they have a head-to-head, which is even. They can probably tie-break into it. Whereas MNM, it is now functionally impossible for them to make playoffs. They are currently locked out. They can't reach that 8-win margin. But what can they do to play spoiler and get away from relegation?
Sort of buffers his way out of some of the CC, flashes into the pit, but now gets bound by the binding Eclipse. Not going to happen, though. Look at Camera on the bot side. He can have some free time to get onto this tower. Get a little bit of that split push going. And on the other side for MNM, if NYYRIKKI win this, they are basically locking themselves out of relegations. They'll get to 6 wins. MNM would have 3 games left to play, so could maybe tie it, but I think with the head-to-heads, it would be pretty tricky for them to make their way out of it, and that would mean it would also lock Singularity in to the relegation.
Thinking of it, because NYYRIKKI would be 3 games ahead and have the 2-0 head-to-head versus an MNM, they won the first matchup, they would be mathematically locked out of relegations. That's pretty huge for this roster.
Yeah.
This is the first season for NYYRIKKI being in the NLC. MNM have been around a while longer in the Nordic and the UK and Ireland scene. They have relegated out before, in fact have MNM. It'd be a sad situation for them to visit that again, but NYYRIKKI in their first year, if they were to stay in despite the toils of spring split, having a bit of a poor showing at that time and having struggles in this split too, it would still be a result, I think, to be proud of.
Of course, Singularity with their loss earlier as well, I believe, locked themselves into the relegation bottom 2. So they'll be around that one. It's really a question now between MNM and NYYRIKKI. And of course, NYYRIKKI in a better spot after their very successful final week. Of course, now with lulas in, it's a different jungler, different way of playing the game. This game has been a bit slower, even if they are up a healthy amount of gold at this point. The problem is they're about to fight for an Infernal Soul in a minute, and while that gold is good for you right now, you need to make it count in a minute's time.
And I think, so I understand that both these teams are not wanting to jump into fights where they don't have full information because they can get so dangerous. We've also seen kind of a problem with both these teams not actually being able to set up the correct vision and control the areas of the map they want to play around well enough, because they've not actually managed to pull the trigger on pretty much anything at this point. It's been not directionless, but it's not been lethal enough. And with both these teams looking to snowball, the fact that they haven't been able to do that is a little worrying for both teams. It does feel like both teams are kind of afraid to lose rather than being bold enough and looking for the victory.
Gone 21 minutes on the clock, and MNM finally secured themselves a tower. That's great news for them, but with the Dragon spawning in 20 seconds, you know where the angle is, camera over the wall, misses the charm, but Aero has to self-hut. Now he's in a difficult position. Can he escape? Look for the second charm, flash away from the Orb of Deception. Aero is now out of this fight.
Again, NYYRIKKI's defensive vision is working really, really well for them. Lissandro's down, Ariel's down, big proactive tools down. Does that open up a window for these AD carries to start doing the carrying now that these mid laners don't have nearly as much threat?
Camera, of course, does a lot of work to chunk out both the mid and support, but Azator with some close-range weaponry, not the easiest for him to get in. Banderas will have to do the lion's share of the work. Glacial Path thrown out, but not taken. Dragging down to 4,000 HP, Caleb into the wall, gets onto Lulas, flashes away, Soft goes in, but he's taken so very low, goes golden. Abagnale follows suit, now inside the Cataclysm, Soft trying to escape his way back out. Abagnale staying alive, but on the other side, and 2 already for NYYRIKKI, who are wiping this team fight. There comes the Calibrum when it's needed, and Soft will run away, run to the hills, and only the mid-jungle survives from MNM.
MNM, they had themselves soul point. They still technically have a jungler in the area. Maybe can flag drag in for something. Has he been seen on that tiny ward?
Moonshot misses. Pillar comes over. Shock Blast, not going to be quite enough, but Azator is hunting him down, has Flash, should be able to secure this. Flashes forwards, but Smite afterwards makes that a Flash wasted.
Flash wasted, but it is still Dragon to the side of NYYRIKKI. It's not going to be soul picked up by MNM. And again, this is like the second half of the fight, right? Because actually large amounts of the cooldowns you want to go in with have been used from both sides, because you don't have the ability to go in for that big bursty combo with the Ahri at this point, not with your ultimate missing. And it really feels like the AD carries were unlocked to do what they will, and Azator always has the right guns for the equation. Had Calibrum, Crescendum, Rifle, Turrets. He absolutely shreds MNM through.
Yeah, and unfortunately didn't get a lot out of Michigan in that fight. Was Azator 2-0-2. Gets everything he wanted on that one, gets to utilize the weapons he built up, and it's a beautiful switch out to the Calibrum at the end as well. The man's weapon management is one of the best in the NLC, on full display in that fight now. 2 items complete. Banderas happily transformed on the Muramana as well, so NYYRIKKI well and truly in the full power of their comp.
So what I'm really looking for from MNM next is something that they've kind of struggled with so far, probably because NYYRIKKI have been very good at removing vision. MNM need to be placing wards, they need to be defending them, and they need to really be trying to find those picks. I think they should be establishing a small pocket of vision with their jungle support, and then letting someone sit in fog behind it, someone like Chimera, someone like Mishigu, to throw someone into the fray. I hope they can start picking someone on NYYRIKKI off. I think that's what they need to do, but currently they're pushing in a siege and they're getting TP'd on.
Teleport, tower falls, but this will now be a 4v4. Aero onto the side, looking for the glacial path. Gets in on Michigu, who cleanses. But so much damage means there's no way out. Shredder lives up to his namesake, and it's not an eponymous title you wanted. He is shredded.
Oh, they get all the wards on the north side, but they don't catch that one in the bot river. Brush and NYYRIKKI pounce. They find themselves, they're engaged, they draw in the mistake. It's 2 fights back to back and a Baron going with it.
Watch Aero on the flank. He can look for more in the 3v5. They must hold. Caleb nearly at Mega. There goes Aero trying to get onto camera, who managed to run away for now, but is slowed down. Cleanses to try and keep the distance. Does not have ultimate, so damn low. Soph is dead. Camera is running to the wrong part of the rift. He'll try and recall, but Azator is coming over. Decent amount of damage on a final auto. Secures the Fox.
Cheeky Gale Force from Azator to pick that one up. I guess hit with the charm midway through makes the animation look a little bit funky, but Azator 3-0 for MNM. They pick for early game, they pick for pick potential, and they just can't make it work. NYYRIKKI punish their mistakes around vision, around positioning.
A try.
Aero.
Remember, there's no ultimate quite yet, so he finally gets it off, just off cooldown, but now Michigu looking to try and turn it around. Big shutdown onto Michigu, a necessary turnaround for MNM. A silver lining in the thunderclouds on NYYRIKKI right now.
It's too little too late, though. I mean, you pick off the Lysandra, that's all well and good, but it is after you've lost a huge fight again. Banderous on this Jace. We don't see Jace that much. I know that Aragon was calling out, hey, I love that some of our players are picking out the Yone, the Jace into that Narm. Of course, the Aurelio we saw earlier today from Chasey as well. And I think that Banderous has been, once again, quietly adding a lot to his team. It's been a little louder in some games, but this one he's just been doing what he needs to do. And what NYYRIKKI needed to do was, again, punish these mistakes from MNM, which they're successfully doing.
that Gale Force there from Azator is clutch enough to get them the kill. They do so.
The animation just looks so funky because it's cancelled by the charm.
Like, cancelled, but not before the damage goes through. Yeah. Emotional damage.
Gosh. A little bit for MNM, because again, a loss here, it effectively locks you into relegations at that point. It is close enough. Actually, I think, well, with Vanir still at 5 wins, you could technically...
Yeah, possibly.
You could technically get out of relegations if Vanir were to collapse and MNM were to pick up some wins there, I believe, but NYYRIKKI would be out of it themselves due to head-to-heads in their own game score, meaning that remaining games, MNM couldn't make up the difference. That's what's on the table for these teams. It's survival in the league. Chimera, what's he trying to do here?
It's a charm onto the Trundle, who does heal back up with the Subjugate, but now needs to try and survive. So much damage on a Shredder from an accelerated shock blast means that even the attempted pick does nothing.
Oh, they're just too far behind. 7,500 gold, and well, you got a little bit of damage on that Ari. It's just not enough. No follow-up, and the Trundle is your worst picked target. Gets out of that one alive. NYYRIKKI punishing the thought of the aggressive play. MNM, if you'd made that 15 minutes earlier, maybe it would have worked out to your favor, but it's just really hard to make it work at this point. NYYRIKKI just choking out the map, choking out the vision, and now with the dragon spawning, NYYRIKKI looking to, once again, stop MNM getting towards a soul.
Absolutely. Of course, NYYRIKKI, they will face off against Vanir somewhere down the line as well to maybe push them into that consideration for a relegation spot. Of course, Vanir have got Bifrost and Astralis, no easy teams to beat on their current performances, as Caleb does get that top lane tier 1, but Panteras looking to absolutely murder this Mega now, forces the flash out.
Aero's
coming and Aero coming up. I don't think there's any way to escape. It will be a cold, cold grave for this Gnar. Taken out by Banderas on the killing spree.
Shredder takes one look and goes, nope, I'm out. Tries to roam up to the play. I mean, when the plays start happening like that, someone normally tries to hover over unless there's a concerted call to go to a cross map somewhere else. But I mean, Aero's just there at the right time, and Banderas, he punishes Caleb for taking a tower. I mean, at that point, you're at least getting something. It's a tower. It's a sad situation for MNM. And again, we've kind of said that, actually it was Aragon saying it on the desk. They kind of put themselves on a timer. We thought that they needed to play around early game. They definitely tried to make something work around that Herald. It just wasn't enough, and they stalled out before they really managed to begin.
You're looking down the barrels of a 3-item Jace, a 3-item Lysandra, and an Aphelios, who I'm sure is about to complete an Infinity Edge as well. That is a brutal set of items to try and deal with.
Well, even actually just looking at the the 2 items there from Lulus as well. We saw how tanky this Trundle can be. I mean, I believe that's probably going to be on Chimera as the sole AP. Actually, no, it's not. I'm wrong. It's actually on Michigan.
Okay, makes sense as well.
But either way, it just makes you so tanky. You steal something from the first person into the fray as well. Most likely going to be Soph or Calum, whoever's ended up there first. And Lulus is, even at this point, with the amount of gold that he's got, becoming a real nuisance for MNM to deal with.
Yeah, you need a fight if you're MNM where you blow up Azator and then Michigan gets to free fire. In that order, probably, and that is so hard to guarantee.
Yeah, it's, again, it feels like it's about punishing mistakes. NYYRIKKI have just been better at that this game.
Vision control, as you called out earlier.
Someone's been walking over wards, when someone's been pushing up too far in a lane, whatever, you name it. NYYRIKKI have been the ones to punish more often than not. MNM have not found as much success at it. As I say that, though, potential of it happening
Trying to go in. Soft jumps onto Banderas, but he's still got a stopwatch. Throw out the hostile takeover. Soft gets hammer blown straight into the river, and Lulus is there to try and eat up the Jarvan, who does get over the wall, but a glacial path forced to flash out from Soft.
I mean, credit to MNM trying to find some way back in by, again, doing what we've been saying all game, trying to punish someone overstepping, punish those mistakes, but mistakes have been aplenty in this game from themselves, and they're just too far behind to capitalize.
I mean, at least they don't lose any lives. They get a stopwatch out of Banderas' chase. They get the flash off of Aero, so there's at least something there, even if it didn't look pretty. You do burn a few of those tools. The stopwatch in particular, though, is immediately transformed into a Guardian Angel, so I don't feel that Banderas feels too hard done by burning that cooldown.
Absolutely not. And also, I mean, it gives you the legendary passive, the mythic passive, rather, from
yeah, of course.
A little more percentage pen on that, gonna hit a little harder. Just makes all your other items a little more valuable. So,
it's the Infinity Edge as well.
Infinity Edge from Aztor. There you go. Critical carry mass hit by Aztor. Zoom in on that guy. Yeah, that guy's powerful.
With Infernum and Gravitum as well, that's not the best, like...
I was saying that like in a metaphorical sense, but I'm glad the observers are listening.
Observers are paying attention, that's great news. As Calum really wishes we'd zoom away from that. That was brutal to witness.
Avert thine gaze! It's like, you can crush my body, but you can never crush my spirit. Banderas, second Q in hammer form. Ah, my spirit!
Yeah, oh, dear me. Abandon your designs, lowly tarnished. You're not allowed to be at a side lane. Who the hell do you think you are? Banderas doing his best Elden Ring boss impression in this game. Truly a monster.
I can't quote that one. I haven't played it.
You really ought to. It's very good.
I hear it's very good. I've been a victor of many bullet hell games myself. It's not quite the same as the Souls-like, but I could give it a shot.
Banderas now gets to throw
the side lane is actually the Souls-like, trying to dodge everything. That's the bullet hell.
3-level discrepancy. Of course, Camera doesn't have teleports. That just means NYYRIKKI are going to get free reign over this Baron.
Yeah, and the thing about having items on an AD carry, especially one with so much consistent damage, you can 2-man Baron. It goes down so quickly, and they have to dive into the Aphelios with these weapons. That is hellish from MNM.
NYYRIKKI pull away, though, with Soph in position to steal, and now everyone up here. That minion wave in the bot lane, though, will do the work. It's set up earlier, Blue Peter style, and get a hold of that inhibitor turret. Aero, though, gets charmed. He could go down. They get him. The mid laner is dead. Now in the 4v5, what can MNM do? They must find Azator. They tried, forced the flash out, but he's got Calibrum and Crescendo. We can start trading this one out. 20 seconds on Infernal Drake, and that would be sold for MNM. A possible win condition of Light in the Dark.
But look at this, Jace. One more Shock Blast hit. Someone is going down with it. They've lost their mid laner, but NYYRIKKI's still spoiling for a fight.
On the side with the Fate's Call! Gets on 2. Another charm. We'll make sure it's a 1-for-1 right now, but Shredder is taken out. Abagnale burns out, so support for support. The Moonlight Vigil goes wide, and now still the man advantage for MNM, but they must secure this dragon. Can they do it without dying? A charm onto Lulas will mean he's still going to be in the pit. Secured! Infernal Soul, but look who's dead. Camera is down in Michigu with the Immortal Shield Bow. Popped, must try and escape. Soft will die. Calum and Lulas must escape somehow, some way. It's late enough into the game, they might just die. Calum nearly at Meganar, not quite there, over the wall, staying alive. Now Lulas in danger, but look at the teleports into the base. NYYRIKKI's want to corral them, keep them away, because they'll just end the game.
Oh, and MNM, they finally find a few burst combos. They make it interesting, but it's far too little.
Well done.
Far too late. NYYRIKKI calling in the cavalry to the Nexus.
A 2v2. They've got Infernal Soul, but that is a support, a top laner versus the 2 solo laners. Aero taken low with the Ignite. Goes Golden State alive. Gonna keep playing this one best they can. Banderas in, but he's gonna get gated up with the course of the Sad Mummy. NYYRIKKI not like this, a bit of MNM magic to end the game. They'll kill off Aero. Coming back now is Banderas. Must get out of here alive.
Oh, I think Banderas might just be able to do it with that gate of his. Accelerating camera, not up in time. The game goes on, but it is still kind of broken open. You've lost yourself an inhibitor. How much realistically can this Infernal Soul do? MNM, it helps them increase their burst window. Hell, they managed to take out Aero with that burst combo. That's where it really started. This is again, halfway through the fight. You've already lost the Lissandra. What really makes this interesting is, again, Mishigu sliding off a vision, getting into active range. This Kalista has been a factor in a fight for pretty much the first time this game. Mishigu really struggling to get into the right position, dodging away from Trundle Pillars, away from the damage threats, but even with that, it's just not enough.
They do get the Infernal Soul, though, and they stave off the end of the game. They're on to the Baron. They want to take this mini victory and run with it.
Render's getting stacked, but Banderas, look at this poke. The Jace is doing so much.
So low, they're going to get a charm to Abagnale, though. Don't secure a kill, though. Handshake away, MNM back off.
So dangerous there. MNM trying to use that threat of the Kalista secure, force NYYRIKKI's hand, maybe get them to engage into them. It's not something that they've managed to really pull off this game. MNM have to be fighting on the aggressive foot.
Eyes on the bot lane, though. That minion wave begins to trundle its way in. Remember the down Nexus tower. Baron started by NYYRIKKI. Soft healed up on the Gromp.
Error's not been seen.
He's going to try him over the flank. Does not take the glacial path.
It was sad though with the Banshees on too. Could have actually tanked up the charm, flashed in, made things really dangerous for MNM, but they don't choose to split their call. They choose to stay on the Baron, not look for the fight. They secure it, they're rewarded for it. They're going to reset on some members, teleport back into the stacked wave, see if they can put this game to bed.
Do you believe in MNM? They pulled off a miracle to hold on to this game for a few moments more, but NYYRIKKI still get the Baron. NYYRIKKI still very deadly this late into the game. And NYYRIKKI begin to shove in on the top side. Charm onto Lulas.
And again, but that's the real one target that you don't get much out of hitting. And on the other side, it's so much easier to line up those shock blasts. Anyone hit by the Jace is going to be stinging, waking up sore tomorrow morning. So NYYRIKKI setting up in multiple lanes. Aero safe enough for now. Has ultimate, has Banshees, has that Zhonya's. Of course, wasn't enough to save them at the start of that last fight, but this time looking to play a little more respectfully around those minion waves. NYYRIKKI playing it by the book, playing it by tutorial style, pushing in with their creeps.
Azator following in the likes of Attila's footsteps. Some phenomenal AD carry performances today. 8-0-4, 3-item stopwatch, Last Whisper in inventory. Doing their very best to carry this game to a victory. Of course, Mishigu with the stopwatch, with the Bloodthirst and no slouch themselves. Trying the best to hold on against this Baron.
Right, so NYYRIKKI actually haven't managed to stack up the waves quite well enough. Bot lane's crashing in, but mid lane is nowhere to be seen. They go for a dive to
goes in, Mishigu cleanses, but stays alive. Into the backside goes Shredder, though, with a massive curse to Sad Mummy. That will still be a dead Amumu, though. Hostile takeover doesn't get as much done. The Cataclysm down, and now the Nexus, the inhibitor turret, I apologize, falls. The wave crashing in onto this final Nexus turret as well. And NYYRIKKI with the man advantage, looking to end the game right here, right now.
Oh, that's the flash shot, I mean, it misses. Trying to catch out just one target, but MNM not able to land anything in defense of their base. Turrets shredded, only one left alive across the entire map.
The Nexus is exposed to Charm! Gets a hold of Aero, who plays on bailout but needs to stay alive. Soft goes down, but it's not going to keep Aero alive, who now falls, but the Nexus exposed. Lulas onto it! Lulas with the victory! And NYYRIKKI cleaning up to 6 wins!
NYYRIKKI now